Ladies and gentlemen, your final match, Brett Shepard versus Tyler Show. Let's set him off with a round of applause. Best 2 out of 3. High seed on the pair will get his lane choice of starting, and then you'll follow arrows as we fill out the match. So good luck, guys. All right, here we go. The finals of the 17th Ebonite Lafayette Open. Scott Gilmore, Doug Weedman. Here we are. Brett Shepard against Tyler Show. Louisville, Kentucky versus Smock, Pennsylvania.
And we got two.
And we're in Lafayette, Indiana. How does that work out?
These guys have managed to persevere, get themselves through some pretty close matches. Lanes are getting tough.
And Brett converts the 2-pin spare. And here we go. Best 2 out of 3. Just like we've done all day long. 32 guys down to just these 2 finalists. Winner receives $2,000. Second place, $1,300. And more importantly, Doug, the winner kind of gets his name etched in a lengthy history of winners.
Yes, 17 years. A lot of quality players have been in this event. Some outstanding bowlers have won it. Tyler steps up a little bit inside, gets away with a runaway Brooklyn. He's moved inside. We're going to have another match featuring players playing 2 entirely different parts of the lanes right now.
Yeah, Brett playing the extreme outside.
Tyler
looks to be just a little bit inside of that.
Yeah, he had a great read for shooting that 10-pin or the 2-pin.
There's Tyler on the left lane, frame 2, game number 1. Comes in light and leaves the 5-8. Here's kind of how you think. He's swinging. Tyler's swinging what we call to the spot.
Mm-hmm.
Brett's playing up the spot.
Right.
With much different role.
Right.
But interesting to see which one ends up coming out the victor.
Yeah, Tyler really hasn't controlled his break point well in these last couple of matches. He's been keeping the ball in play and really hasn't gotten himself in trouble.
Well, he converts the spare. Brett looking for a strike here to even up the match on lane 2.
The friction zone on the outside is still there to be played. It's a matter of just how soon you get to it as to whether you'll control what's going to go on.
Comes in high and leaves just the 4-pin on lane 12, second frame.
Fortunate to break up a split. That could have been a 4-10.
Very, very quiet in the bowling center.
Yeah, there's only 2 important people right now.
And Brett hooks at the 4-pin, makes it, trailing by 1 early in the match. Want to give a big thanks to Dave Small, proprietor of Star Lanes. They've been the host every year of the Ebonite Lafayette Open, and his staff has done a wonderful job. A lot of remodels in the center. The center looks great. We've had really no issues all weekend long, so I can't thank Dave enough for once again coming through as the host proprietor for the Ebonite Lafayette Open. And Brett Shepard strikes on the left lane on lane 11 in the 3rd.
Star Lanes has been one of the landmark businesses in the Lafayette area. I believe they're in their 63rd or 64th year of existence through a whole variety of owners over those 60-odd years.
Yes, they've been around for quite a long time, and luckily bowling has been one of those staple in a lot of these factory markets, which is what Lafayette is, an industrial type market.
Yep.
So bowling has always been a very popular recreation in Lafayette, and Star Lanes has been a big part of that through the history of when this center was built. As Tyler Show comes in light and leaves what they call the rail, the 1-2-4-7.
Heard that thump, thump, thump. Went end over it. Just took all the hand out of it. Just barely got it out.
Well, with that 6 count, Brett Shepard takes the lead sitting on the bench by a pin.
So Tyler's playing inside, and if he's a little soft, he's going face, and if he takes a little bit of hand out, it just doesn't recover. He's playing a tough part of the lane.
Left lane, lane 11, 4th frame, working on a spare, trailing by 1.
Go away, Brooklyn again.
You know, and this is where I really think, though, Doug, playing that part of the lane, it's just hard to beat a player that's lined up, to me, playing way outside.
Yeah, because there's no
over-under is so much difficult.
Right, there's no room for error there. I mean, if you throw it absolutely, perfect, if you pure it, yeah, there's going to be a look. But as you can see on that one, he just a little bit firmer at the bottom, and it's suddenly red, just that much earlier, and he will enough to go completely left of the head pin.
Oh, see right there, he comes in high flush, trips out the 10 for a double, and now Brett Shepard, taking a 13-pin lead, can make it 23 with a strike here in the 6th.
This is completely opposite of our finals last year, where TJ played inside, and his opponent was trying to play outside. And TJ, because he had that natural feed inside out, had a good look. Now we're completely opposite. Now you got to go outside, and you've got to really trust your ability to project the ball down the outside line.
Oh, great shot there in the 5th by Brett. Strikes. And if you notice, Doug, he's throwing 2 different balls.
Yep, he's made a ball change. Finally found the right combination for each lane. That's one of the things that's made this event so tough over the years, is that there's never a guaranteed shot year after year. You have to be very creative. You have to come in with a really great command of your equipment as well as your own game to play all sorts of parts of the lanes.
Tyler coming in light, leaving the 2-pin in the 5th.
So he's been high on the odd lane every time. He's been light on the even lane every time. Still hasn't quite dialed it in.
Trailing by 24 now in the match, needing to spare. Brett Shepard in control right now early in game number 1. Oh, and he misses the 2-pin.
That was a little too relaxed, a little too tentative. And just a sort of a mental error there, but that's all right. This is a situation where, in a three-game match, you can sort of experiment a little bit, basically concede this game to his opponent, and then try to get lined up so he can take advantage and come back in games 2 and 3. Well, he finally got that one down the lane.
Yeah, missed that one out a little bit, leaves what I call the half bucket, the 2, 4, 5, and I just don't know if I like playing that part of the lane compared to where Brett's playing right now.
Well, he gave it some room. Well, he chops it.
And he chops off, leaving the 5, and Tyler in some early trouble. Could this be a time, though, if you're coaching Tyler, you might say, hey, listen, you're down by 50 pins early in this game.
Well, yeah,
go outside and see what's...
make a bold experiment.
Yeah. Can you play outside like Brett is?
Or maybe just go way inside and play a fallback shot to the head pin rather than trying to predict what the ball's going to do off the back end. Just play a fallback shot where we'll just sort of hook set with something, with a nice little tilt to the back end. But it's obvious that the part of the lane that he's playing is just not giving him any error margin at all. And right now his opponent's got a great look, so he needs to find a great look real quick. So that shot's been there all day long. Just a matter of controlling ball speed.
Well, here he is in the 7th frame, left lane, and he is lined up.
Yep. You can see just how smooth and relaxed that swing was.
Well, we spoke briefly prior to this match, and I just asked him, I said, hey, Brett, I said, how important was it to win game 1 against Joe Massey? And he's like, huge.
Right.
I mean, it was the match in his mind.
Right. Mentally, it gave him such a lift. And to squeeze by with, four best ball frames and finally squeeze by, and you put his opponent at instant at disadvantage.
Oh,
there it is.
Tyler comes back with a nice strike in the 7th. Let's quickly, our sponsors for the 17th Ebonite Lafayette Open, powered by Savage Bowling. Ebonite, Dexter Shoes, McCarty Motors, Savage Bowling Pro Shop, Smith Heating, Cooling, and Drain Service, Wings, etc., Tower Corners, Sitco, Advanced Pool Service, and Awards Unlimited. We want to thank our sponsors as well. We want to thank Ebonite for the donation of equipment from big shout out to Bugsy Kelly and Rob Gottschall for supplying us with equipment that we've been able to give to sponsors and raise over $3,000 in the prize fund of a record $13,800 prize fund.
And we talked about making a bold move. Tyler just bumped way out and just flushed 2 in a row. So there's a great look out there. There's a free hook spot, and it's just a matter of how quickly you get it. And if you keep control of your ball speed, you have unlimited recovery out there.
Well, Brett Shepard strikes again in the 8th, and here's the situation. Okay, so you get beat by 60 pins in game 1. It doesn't mean anything because it's still, you got to win 2 games. So now we're back to even starting game 2.
It's almost an advantage losing by a lot because then you feel like you can make a big move, make an experiment, and not lose anything. Whereas in a close match, you're so tentative about making a big move because you don't want to give away the pocket. And you don't want to give your opponent an advantage by making a bad guess. Now you can make a wild guess. Whether you lose by 40, you lose by 70, it doesn't matter. You know you're going to lose, but you get a chance to figure out whether that bold move is going to work or you're going to go back to where you were, and there's nothing lost either way.
Well, Brett just made another ball change. He went to the pearlized IQ2 or pearl.
Right.
And
every time he's gone to that, he's got a very inconsistent roll on that.
Well, that ball jumped through the face and left the 3-6-10.
I think the pearl surface is giving him a sort of an over-under ball reaction, where it's I think it may be a little bit too speed sensitive on that part of the lane. So let's see if we can get some confidence here. He said he made a big move outside, playing right around 3 at the break. Ring a 10-pin.
But the ball reaction is so much better.
Oh, yes, yeah. It's so much more reliable. I mean, he went flush, 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 and left 1 10-pin. So if he can trust himself to play that line, this second game of the match may be really interesting.
Yeah, and that's the point like you were making earlier. You know, it doesn't matter how much you get beat by the first game. Your opponent has to beat you the second game. The total pins are irrelevant. So there's some luxury, like you were saying, is to fish around, so to speak, for maybe a better line or a better reaction. Maybe even a different ball.
Yes, right. Everything starts over. Every game starts over. And so you throw the first game out of your head. Trust the new line you're looking for. You gotta be a little bit firmer with speed.
He comes in high and leaves the 6-pin. Game 1, well decided. Brett's on a 240 pace, a spare strike here for Tyler. He's going to shoot 170. So game 1's going to go to Brett. He's 1 game away from winning the 2014 Ebonite Lafayette Open Championship. $2,000 for first, $1,300 for second.
Nice payoff for a weekend's work.
Yes.
That was a much more aggressive shot than the last one.
He's got a ball reaction out there.
Yeah.
Before, he didn't have so much of a ball reaction.
Right. He couldn't control what it was doing. It was just too straight to the pocket. Instead, you start playing the flat part of the lane, you have to absolutely pure everything. And
solid 10 there for Brett.
The tournament this year gave you a free hook zone. You had to trust yourself to play out there, but.
Boy, and it didn't take long for bowlers to catch on to that.
No, it did not. Yeah. Once they realized quality players are going to figure these things out real quick. They're going to watch 1 or 2 players open up the lanes outside, and everybody's going to jump out there. And good players can trust themselves to set the ball down on 4, set the ball down on 3. And if you can't play out there, then you don't deserve to win, because there's a lot of really good looks out there in a lot of different tournaments where playing the edge of the lane is sweet.
It's one of those always been to me, and you don't get to play that part of the lane very often. It's always been one of those high risk, high reward um, parts of the lane to play, because
Right.
if you're on it, you have a good reaction, but a little miss to the right or left is in the gutter,
Yeah, you can't get tight.
and you can't cut one short, because
No.
then it has no chance.
Yeah, you got to trust your arm swing. And unfortunately, in a lot of house shots where a lot of people practice ball on, you don't get that shot. They give you a free hook zone starting at 8 or 10, and if you go out to the edge of the lane, you can't control ball reaction. So it's one of those things where experienced tournament players know how to take advantage of a shot that's out there. So here we are in game number 2.
Tyler's show will start on the left lane, lane 11. Oh, good ball there, strike. Now really, Tyler's now lined up. Now Brett is probably thinking, well, what's he going to do to my line?
Right.
And can my carry? It's really going to be about carry for Brett.
Right. Because it'll start changing when the ball rolls. And sometimes when the ball starts to roll up early and it loses a little bit of energy, and you saw it in the previous match when he went that flat 10 and he left that flat 7. So it's one of the things I think ball speed will be important.
There's one sign of maybe his carry's not going away.
Not yet.
They always say when the 6-pin comes in and slaps out the 10 like that your ball is actually entering the pocket just the way it's supposed to.
Yeah, it means the ball's got a good acceleration to it, and it's maintaining its angle to the pocket. When you leave that 6-pin that lays down in the gutter, then you have to change the ball roll or a little angle of attack a little bit. That was a little bit inside all the way. It was a little bit inside, so there's a little bit of hold for him there.
I just asked Brett what ball he threw on the left lane. It's the Rain of Power. So
there's the Rain of Power and the Rain On. There's a couple balls in that line.
And then he's throwing the Uproar, I believe, on the right lane. And Tyler comes back and doubles. So we have a match now.
Yeah, both players have got a look. Tyler's getting confident in that big move that he made. God, that had been about 12, 15 boards with his feet. He moved way right. Probably moved his line about 8 to 10 boards over.
Here's Tyler's show. 3rd frame, left lane. Working on a double.
Great pitch.
Ooh. Wow, that ball's hitting hard too.
Yeah. And he's not a high-speed player. He's not somebody who's going to really stand on it, but that was such a smooth stroke. Ball read the spot and just had that continuous arc that makes that look like the ball's accelerating to the pocket.
You're curious. Brett is an experienced player. He's bowled a lot of major events, has had some success. Tyler is an unknown to me, but bowling for Vincennes, at that point that he's got a lot of experience collegiately under his belt, so maybe the nerves not so much. Yeah, Brett Shepard throws a strike.
And he's convinced that he missed in, but that's one of those where there's a little bit of oil in there, and if you've got the ball speed, it'll hold just long enough.
Well, a strike for Brett. Both players with the front 3. Brett working in the 4th frame left lane can take a 10-pin lead with a strike.
Gary Sparks at Vincennes is just one of the great coaches in the country. He's been like 6 or 7-time junior college coach of the year, and he runs a great program there and really helps his players develop both mentally as well as physically.
Oh, and the first bad shot, and I don't know, based on Brett's reaction, maybe not a bad shot, but just a surprise reaction.
Yeah, he may have thought that he threw that ball firm enough to get it down the lane. And this is one of those things where now we suddenly have 2 players playing very similar parts of the lane, and there's going to be a transition. In his previous matches, he didn't have that. He was out there all by himself, and it was just a matter of just burning that small area of the lane that was his own line. But now we got 2 players out there, and so there may be a little bit of a transition there.
All right. Well, open frame in the 4th for Brett. Now Tyler working in the 4th frame with the front 3. Oh, and he trips out the 10 pin, and now he takes quite a bit of a lead here now in game 2. And now could we see maybe the momentum swinging the other direction?
Said he put that first game out of his mind, made some really great moves. Let the 9th and 10th frame be a pretty bold experiment. Saw how good of a look his opponent had out there. I mean, if somebody's having success, you might as well, if you trust yourself to play the same part of the lane.
Well, Tyler Show was the 20 seed going into this morning's matches. Oh, and he leaves a stone 9 pin in the 5th.
Boy, that picked up a roll just a fraction early.
He was the 20 seed coming into the matches, so he was qualified near the bottom third of the top 32. Brett was the 6th overall seed, so he finished, qualified much higher. But it just kind of shows you that no matter where you start, it's all about, matching up, hitting the right person the right time, maybe on the right pair.
Right.
It takes a lot to get to this final match.
Yeah, and it's one of those things where you get a player with a look. Anybody's going to beat anybody else. Doesn't matter what your seed is. Seeding gives you an advantage in the sense that you have confidence. But once the match is underway, if your opponent's got a good look, not about confidence, it's about finding good shots.
There's a good shot in the 5th from Brett. Oh, let's look what we got.
Good aggressive.
27 pin lead through 4 frames for Tyler Show. Now Brett can cut that lead down to 17 with a strike here in the 6th.
Yeah, if he can double up, and if Tyler were to spare again, make the match much closer here. Yes, remember, he's got a 1-game lead. Just don't do anything that just gives away the second game.
Oh, good shot there. And I'm not sure if he made any move or not, but that was high flush.
Yeah. I think it was just a matter of just being looking a little further down the lane, being nice aggressive at the bottom of the swing, and throwing the ball like you know that you can throw it, because that shot hasn't gone away.
Here we go, 6th frame, working on a spare. Tyler Show, right lane. Game number 2, trailing 1-0. Comes in high, leaving the 6-10. Makeable spare, though.
Yeah, with his spare shooting technique, he comes right over end. You can hear it roll over the thumb hole. More getting it on line right off the hand.
Now, obviously you teach bowling at Purdue University. I mean, would you recommend teaching a bowler to roll the ball that way on spares?
Oh yeah, I like to. Obviously depends on lane conditions, but even a lot of house bowlers, they think they can hook every single spare, and it's just not a good idea. It's so much easier to go straighter at your spares, play a simple angle, take the hand out of it, and if you have that end over end roll, it doesn't matter what lane condition you're bowling on. The ball will go wherever you set it down, and if you set it down in the right spot, you're going to be a great spare shooter.
Walter A. Williams Jr. always made his spares. You always heard it roll right.
Oh yeah, he's one of the great spare shooters in the history of the game. Oh, got the shaker.
Hit him light, and what'd they say? Hit him thin, watch him spin. There's a bucket crumbler for Tyler Show. He strikes in the 7th.
He doesn't have the quite the same speed where he could miss it and have it hold. You saw that on the previous shot. That one, because of that little bank off the edge, you can take advantage of missing a little bit right and getting that ball at least to kick the head pin around a little bit.
Brett can cut the lead to 5 with the strike here. Oh, he comes in light and trips the 5-7 late. We got a 5-pin game now going into the 8th frame.
Yeah, you're almost better off staying a little bit light when you're playing that far out and the ball's coming in at that steep of an angle. You can really take advantage of that head pin coming off the wall and kicking pins around. Just gotta adjust it to that spot though.
This game is going to come down to who can strike the most, because I just don't see Brett making another mistake like he did in the 4th frame.
No, he's just got to stay aggressive. Wow.
Oh,
yep.
Solid 10 pin.
Coming down to carry.
Boy, he threw that good too.
He wanted it.
Another big thanks goes out to, I want to thank my wife, Karen Gilmore. She's been a humongous help this weekend. Her and I spend about 30 hours of the entire weekend here inside the bowling center. So she's kind of my computer guru and my accountant and all that stuff. So big thanks to her. As you know, it takes more than one person to put on this event, and it's a lot of work and a lot of dedication, and I want to thank her for that. And as Brett made his 10-pin spare.
Boy, he really wanted to put another strike on the end of that string to put some pressure on him. See if Tyler can double up here.
He needs to keep the foot on the gas pedal. Oh, he comes back with a great shot in the 8th. I'm really impressed by this young man.
Yeah, he made a great move. He realized that his opponent was going to have a really good look on the outside, have a great chance to put up a big number. So he just gave up the line that had gotten him through the last couple of matches.
Well, here we go, 9th frame. Working on a double. Tyler can really put a clamp on this game 2 match.
He's got possible 260s out there. Oh, a little tentative.
Comes in light and leaves the 2-4-5 again. A spare that he chopped in the first game.
Yeah, this is tough straight. Missed that release a little bit. Didn't quite get the roll off.
Well, Brett can still shoot 241.
Play a small angle across the lane.
Oh,
and he did it again.
Missed it again. Wow, let's see what this does to the match now. 202 in the 9th now for Tyler Show. Brett Shepard has 161 in the 7th with the spare in the 8th. Brett can go up and strike out and win this match. He still has 241 out there.
Yeah, he has a possible 240 out there. Best Tyler can get is 232.
Here's his first shot in the 9th frame, right lane. And
Great
he peers it. Boy, if you're Tyler, you just didn't want to give Brett any inkling that he had a chance to win this game.
I mean, you know he's got a good look. You know that there's numbers to be had on that part of the lane. And that was a costly open frame. So now the best thing he can hope for is either a little bit of bad luck where he gets wrapped.
Well, a spare strike would be 221. Here's the first one in the 10th. Oh, and it comes in high. He's not out of it yet.
No.
A spare strike 221, that would still force Tyler to get 20 in the 10th to win.
Right. 9 spare 9. We'd have another tie. That one didn't come off the hand quite the same. I don't know. He got a little bit more up the back of the ball. That end over end read the lane a little early.
Well,
but he can't give away the spare. He's got to be a good spare shooter right here.
He makes it. Now it's critical at this point to get a good count.
Yes. If you get a bad count, your opponent can basically just go up there and
still going to have to mark.
Right, yeah, just but to fill a frame and get something close.
Right.
But you throw a good count, you're going to force your opponent that even if he doesn't strike, has to throw 2 good quality count shots to maximize pin count. So you can't let your opponent relax.
Here he is, Phil ball in the 10th frame, left lane.
Oh, great!
At 9,
great
220.
pitch.
So now Tyler needs 19 to win and Phil, 18 to tie. 220 score for Brett Shepard, game 2. So the important part now is you have to mark.
Right.
It doesn't really matter at this point what he gets if he doesn't strike. He's got to spare and then get a good count.
Yeah, the first ball is irrelevant at this point.
Oh.
Now he just needs good count.
Now he needs 9 pins and 2 shots. At this point, Doug, you just want to stay aggressive.
Yeah, stay aggressive. Don't go face. Leave yourself a nasty spare. That's really easy to chop, where you get like a washout or a nasty split. Stay aggressive, hit the pocket, get a 9 count.
Okay, here we go. Second shot, 10th frame, right lane, Tyler Show.
A little inside.
Oh, that's enough to win.
That's enough to win.
There's 221 right there.
A little tentative at the bottom of the swing, but the ball was on line enough to get to the pocket.
At that point, you just didn't want to go big four or Greek church at that point.
Right, something that would be choppable and you get a 7 count for the frame or something like that.
Absolutely.
So now, but man, that was a great comeback by him after
Yes.
had absolutely no look at all the first half of the first game.
His spare shooting hasn't, I know he's probably not trying as hard on that, but God, he's missed like 4 or 5 spares here.
Right.
So now here we go. It's all even up. One game for the title.
Winner takes all right now. They both have looks. It's just a matter of, I said, being really aggressive at the bottom of the swing. We know the lanes are breaking down a little bit in that part, and making sure you get the hand to work through the ball to get the roll off the back end. If you squeeze it a little bit and the roll gets a little bit inconsistent or it starts to face up a little early, it may not hold line or you may not carry even if you hit the pocket.
All right, game 3 here. Best 2 out of 3. Winner takes all. Brett starting on the left lane, game frame 1. He comes in light, and I tell you right now, that light hit for him seems to be the best carrying shot that he has.
Yeah, as long as he gets the hand around the ball and he gets just enough tilt to make it turn the corner. It's only when he gets caught in, when he gets locked up behind the back of the ball, when it gets end over end too quick that he doesn't carry. But as long as he's got that continuous motion, he's going to carry that light hit.
Okay, Tyler Show here, right lane. Frame number 1, game 3. Oh, trips out to 9. Both players start with a strike. And this is going to be one heck of a finish.
Yeah, I think if both players, stay confident. Tyler on that last shot looked like he was a little bit inside, but he had enough ball speed. He stayed aggressive with the ball speed. And that gave him the chance for it to hold line.
Okay, second frame, left lane. Tyler Show, strike in the first.
A little further inside.
Big 4.
No. That looked like everything had moved in just a little bit from where he was. Looked like he was more up right around 5 or 6. And that's a tricky part of the lane. You're starting to hit the flats part of the lane off the end of the pattern. And you miss the speed a little bit, and it goes face. So now he needs to maximize pin count.
All right, with the 7-pin fell late, so 7-2 open for Tyler Show, and that'll give him 28 in the second. Looks like Brett ran down. I don't know if wasn't sure if he was going to make a ball change. Looks like he's got some tape.
Yep, grabbed a piece of tape, wasn't it?
And he's going to make a little bit of adjustment in his thumb hole, I would assume. And as you and I have talked about, as we've done, TV shows for this tournament in the past, it's a feel game.
Oh, yeah.
And if you don't have the right feel, it's hard to execute good shots.
You've got to get all the squeeze out of the bottom. A lot of times when I hang up on a ball, I actually make it tighter, so I have no urge to squeeze. And if you don't squeeze, you don't hang up.
Oh, great shot there by Brett. It looks like he's going to stick with maybe the same ball on both lanes.
Yeah. Well, that was great ball speed. It's funny. You take inexperienced players, and when their thumb hangs up, they think they need to make the ball bigger and bigger, opening the hole up, and that just exaggerates your need to squeeze it, and then you hang up even more. Experienced players want that thumb to be really snug, so that they feel nothing but the fingers at the bottom. Ball comes off the hand real clean. Will it turn the corner? Just enough.
Yeah, his carry percentage on that light hit has been phenomenal.
Right. So if he gets it to turn just a little bit off the spot, he's going to kick that head pin all over the place. And, of course, he's one of those high-speed players, where if he gets enough angle to catch the head pin, he's going to get good pin action.
Well, now Tyler finds himself in a striking position. And he buries one in the pocket. He's trailing by 32.
Yeah, he needs a strike here really early in this match, just so that he still can send a message to his opponent that he's not going away yet.
Yeah, here's the big shot. He trails by 32. You cut that lead down to 22 here in the fourth frame. Left lane, let's see what kind of adjustment he makes as he came in high.
Still looks like he's playing that lane a little bit further inside than the other one. Good pitch there, though.
Good shot there. Big double there, takes a 22, cuts that lead to 22. Now Brett's going to step up on the right lane, frame 4. Can extend that lead back to 32. Has the front 3. Here we are in the fourth frame. Lane 12, right lane. Winner takes all for the 17th Ebonite Lafayette Open.
Now's not the time to relax. Keep throwing the shots that have been working. Let that hand come through the ball.
Oh, again he comes in light, and somehow it looks like the 5 just ran over the 4. And he starts off with the front 4. He's back into the lead by 32 pins here. Scott Gilmore, Doug Weedman bringing you all the action here from the 17th Ebonite Lafayette Open here at Star Lanes in Lafayette, Indiana. Where Game 3, winner take all, Brett Shepard versus Tyler Show, Louisville, Kentucky, Smock, Pennsylvania, represented here in Lafayette.
Yeah, we got some out-of-staters showing what they got.
Oh,
wow.
He got that ball even farther out on the twig, and it came back even more.
Right. He had such a great read out there. And you could just see the ball get out to about 1 or 2, and it just faced up. Instead, when you have that kind of angle and that kind of speed, you're going to carry for days.
No need to panic if you're Tyler. Just keep doing what you're doing. Plenty of bowling left.
Right. Just don't make a mistake. Just let your opponent make that. That's inside. Yep.
Oh, he leaves the pocket 4-9.
Man, he didn't miss that by much. But I could tell off the hand. You could just hear it off the hand. He just set it a little bit short. And people don't realize the difference between a 4-9 and a strike is, a board and a half. That's all it takes. Which might have been only a 3/4 board miss, at the arrows.
Oh, let's see if he can make the spare. Nope, he misses the 4-pin. Open frame here in the 5th. And now if you're Brett, you don't want to get too far ahead of yourself. Take it one frame at a time, but you're in complete control. Just like that, this match really has changed.
Right.
And now, Tyler must strike.
The important thing when you have this big of a lead, and your opponent is still just a little tentative, is that you don't start getting too casual yourself. You've got to keep throwing good shots. There you go.
And he threw a good one there in the 6th, and I'm sure he was like, man, I'd love to have that 5th lane back right now.
Right.
Just missed a hair, and you pay full penalty.
Yeah, you just, even if he had just left the 4-pin or the 9-pin and had a makeable spare. But now he finds himself well behind.
Right now he's down 68 pins. Brett can make that 78 with the strike here in the 7th, and he does. And again, too, if you're Tyler, if your man starts out with your opponent starts out with the front 7 or so, you just tip your cap.
Right.
What can you do?
Right. You can't, you just, throw up a respectable score. And there are just some days that you bowl well and your opponent bowls better. And there's just, don't have to hang your head in shame. You had a quality tournament through quality games. Will he roll it out? Didn't quite. Short pin.
Well, he starts out the front 6, 10 pin here in the 7th, but still a commanding lead for Brett Shepard from Louisville, Kentucky. Louisville, however you want to say it. Most people say Louisville is wrong.
Well, Louisville. I'm not even sure if there's 2 syllables in it.
And he makes the spare. Tyler would be the first guy I've met from Smock, Pennsylvania.
Yeah.
I'm not sure where Smock is.
I don't know. We'll have to Google map that and see where that is. But respectable showing for him no matter how this match turns out.
First appearance at the Ebonite Lafayette Open, so what can you say? And he doubles in the 7th, and hey, first time you've ever bowled a tournament and you almost had a chance to win it. That's a pretty good deal there.
Yeah. I'm about to say, Gary must be doing some recruiting, Gary Sparks, to get a guy from Pennsylvania all the way to Vincennes, Indiana.
Well, to be honest with you, Vincennes is pretty well known for their bowling program.
Oh, yeah. Vincennes has been good. I mean, even when I bowled for the team back in the mid-'80s, they were number one ranked team in the country back in 84, 85. So they've been so good for so long. And Gary Sparks has been there for some 27, 8 years. Whoops.
Oh, comes in high, leaves the 4, 6, 7, and that's pretty well going to end any chance that he had whatsoever. Well, and, some great players have made their way through Vincennes. Brian Graham, who I believe was from Kokomo, if I remember right.
Mm-hmm.
Was he from Kokomo? Or?
Yeah. Chip Akey was from the Evansville area.
Ronnie Russell,
right?
Who's now a successful touring player.
Well, Rick Steelsmith. My first year for Purdue was his last year at Vincennes before he went on to Wichita. And, Rick Steelsmith went on to become Collegiate Player of the Year, World Amateur Bowler of the Year, Masters Champion. I mean, Rick until his shoulder fell apart his first year on tour, Rick was an outstanding bowler.
Well, many thought that Rick was going to be maybe one of those guys that could become one of the top 5 or 10 players of all time.
Right, yeah.
And he was so highly regarded back in those days.
Halfway through his rookie year, his shoulder fell apart. It was really unfortunate. Just never had the career that everybody thought he had. But still an outstanding player. Late split there, but it's pretty much
it's
decided.
Pretty well over. Tyler Show with 137 in the 8th. Brett Shepard 189 in the 8th, seventh strike in the 8th. Even if he opens here, he's still going to be at 217 if he gets 1 through 9. The most that Tyler can shoot is 197.
Yep.
So, ladies and gentlemen, your winner of the 2014, the 17th Ebonite Lafayette Open is going to be Brett Shepard from Louisville, Kentucky. We'll let Tyler's show finish out, and we'll try to get an interview with Brett. We'll get some photographs taken.
I guess we can call that a changing of the guard. It used to be Vinny Atria from down there.
Yeah.
Vinny won it twice, and now.
Got
a new
Vinny could have won it maybe as many as 4 times.
Yeah.
Vinny's made the show 4 times.
Yeah.
He's won twice. He lost to Terry Clayton. He lost to Gary Ness.
Right.
In the finals, the first 2 years of the tournament.
Mm-hmm.
So.
A little changing of the guard. Young players come up, take their place in the game. Nice shot there.
He struck in the 9th and first one in the 10th there. He's going to be thinking, man, I'm 2 shots away from maybe having something a little bit different here going on.
Two big splits at inopportune moments.
Well, and Brett had no easy stroll through the park. He had to take out T.J. Schmidt in the round of 8. He beat local product Joe Massey in the round of 4. So Brett's earned his championship because he's had to bowl real well and beat some high-quality opponents to get here.
Yeah, I mean, that first match, knowing what TJ had done earlier in the day, TJ had shot well over 1,000 for 4. That's got to put a whoa in your head when somebody has that kind of a look. But he stayed with it, made good shots. Another good pitch there, rings a 10-pin.
Well, a solid 3-game series, though, for Brett on this pair. He loses game 2 shooting 220.
Right.
But you really gotta give your hats off to Tyler Show, who in game 1 was just literally looked like he had no chance. Decides to go right where Brett was playing, and then he wins game 2. And if it wasn't for just one bad break and a couple of bad shots,
right,
this could be a different outcome.
Oh yeah, it would have been. Yeah, it would have been considerably different. Just put 1 strike in place of one of those splits, and that would have been enough. A little bit of pressure on Brett. So, but as it is, Brett's going to have a very respectable game in the 230s. Great way to win the tournament.
All right, there's your final 237-193 as Brett Shepard wins game 3, and the 17th Ebonite Lafayette Open goes to Brett Shepard from Louisville, Kentucky. We'll take a quick timeout. We'll try to get Brett up here for a quick interview as we close out our live stream broadcast. So for Scott Gilmore, Doug Weedman, hold tight. We'll get Brett up here and have an interview, and then we'll give the winner's check and the trophy here in just a short few minutes. All right, we're back here at the 17th Ebonite Lafayette Open. Scott Gilmore joining me as our runner-up, Tyler Show, and from Smock, Pennsylvania. And Tyler, first time bowling this tournament.
Yep.
You find yourself in the final match, and an interesting question I have to ask you is, you look like your ball reaction wasn't very good the first game.
No, nothing.
And did you decide, well, watching Brett, I had to go right?
It was. I love playing the gutter, and to be that far left to begin with is a task in itself. And seeing him, I mean, he had room. He had room all day. That I wasn't. Nothing there. He said down there was nothing on the gutter, and that's where I started. So I didn't even try there. But it was there. That said, that's for sure.
Well, and I know you came back and won game 2. Squeaked it out there. You had to get 19 pins there in the fill, and really getting a spare on this pattern wasn't the easiest thing to do.
No, if you got around the spare ball, it hooked.
Well, and you came back. You start off with a good shot. Mentally, did the 4-9 really kind of maybe take a little bit of the wind out of the sails?
It hurt, but like I said, I made a couple other shots. Then when the other one, that was just kind of like, well, yeah, it was a good day.
Well, you bowl for Vincennes, correct?
Yep.
And you guys are going to bowl out east for Christmas break?
Yeah, we'll be in Allentown for both tournaments.
All right. Well,
during Christmas.
All right. Well, good luck with Vincennes, and I bowled for Purdue and know Gary Sparks real well, so
Yep.
We know the coaching is in play there for you guys.
He's a big help.
Well, good. I hope I can see sometimes the college experience does help in this sort of aspect mentally.
Yeah. Oh yeah. It's totally yeah. It's two different animals though. It's there, but it's college is like nothing else.
Well, that's great. Well, good luck out east and with your college career there at Vincennes, and congratulations on your second place finish.
Thank you.
All right,
Tournament.
Tyler Show from Smock, Pennsylvania. We'll get Brett Shepard here for our final interview at the 17th Ebonite Lafayette Open. All right, joining me here at the booth now is our winner, the 17th champion of the Ebonite Lafayette Open, Brett Shepard from Louisville, Kentucky. And Brett, wow, you had a great ball reaction. You earned it. You had to beat T.J. Schmidt in the round of 8, and then you take on Joe and a match that went back and forth, coming down to a real critical 4-ball roll-off there in Game 1, which you really said to me earlier was a huge momentum push to getting yourself into the finals even.
Yes, actually, I go back to that. That was probably the only reason I won. Couldn't really get off my hand that 4-ball roll-off.
Well, you get to the final match on 11 and 12. Did you see the same ball reaction on that pair as you saw in the previous 2 pairs you bowled on?
11 actually was a little tighter on the gutter. It wasn't qualifying too, so that was consistent. But I just had to ball up with a little more surface on the left lane, and the right lane was pretty much like all the rest.
Well, you jumped out to an early lead in Game 1. You won that easily. What was your reaction when you saw Tyler make the big move out right to where you were playing at and have some success in Game 2?
I actually sent everybody I was talking to a message saying, "Uh-oh."
Well, his ball reaction was really good. And then, but you know what? To me, it seemed like it was just going to come down whether your carry was consistent enough, and it was as you started out with the front 6 or 7 in Game 3.
Yeah, I just kept moving, inching right, wrapped a few 10s, just kept having to go right until run out of room. But thank God it wouldn't go in the gutter.
Well, I do have one thing. What's it? You're from Louisville, Kentucky, or that area. What's it feel like to have your name in the same list with Vinny Atria?
Actually, I was just thinking of that. Knew he had won. A lot of good people from here, from back home, actually come bowl this usually. Of course, I haven't been here in a while, but it's great to come back to this tournament.
Well, we haven't seen Vinny in quite some time, but to have your name in the same category, I know that's an honor because Vinny is a legend in this Midwest area. So
very good.
Well, $2,000 and a trophy. Pretty exciting, right?
That is.
All right. Well, Brett Shepard, our 2014 champion of the 17th Ebonite Lafayette Open. From Scott Gilmore and Doug Weedman, we'll see you in 2015 for the 18th Ebonite Lafayette Open. So long, everyone.